Right now, all across the world, enterprises are writing these huge multi-million-dollar checks to build out their AI capabilities. The pressure to make the right call is immense. But what if the safe choice, the one everyone else is making, is actually a billion-dollar trap in disguise? Well, let's break down how to spot it and, more importantly, how to get out of its way. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This is the one question every single leader should be asking their team. Because this isn't just a technical decision about which chip to buy. No, it's a strategic decision about who holds the power in your most critical technology stack. Is it going to be you, or is it going to be your vendor? You know, if you want to see where this is all headed, you don't need a crystal ball. You just need to look at the very recent past. The story of VMware holds an absolutely critical and very expensive lesson for anyone making these AI infrastructure decisions today. So let's just wind the clock back. It all started out innocently enough. Around 2005, everyone started standardizing on VMware. It just made sense. It was convenient, all the engineers knew it. By 2020, they were on top of the world, totally dominant. But then, the music stopped. The acquisition happened. And in 2024, the bill came due. We're talking catastrophic price hikes, 300, 500, even 1,000% for customers who had built their entire world on this one platform and had no easy way out. And this whole saga reveals a playbook, a predictable pattern that we see over and over. It's a four-step formula for vendor lock-in. It always starts with operational convenience. That convenience leads to market dominance. That dominance gives the vendor incredible pricing power, which leaves IT departments totally and completely trapped. Remember this pattern.
Okay, so why am I giving you a history lesson about virtualization? Because it's happening again. It is déjà vu right now in the world of AI hardware. And this time, the main character is NVIDIA.
See, NVIDIA is building this powerful ecosystem moat that's designed to make switching just prohibitively expensive. It's really a three-pronged attack. First, you've got CUDA, the proprietary software that developers have been optimizing on for 15 years. Second, there's their enterprise software, which cleverly turns what you thought was a one-time hardware purchase into a recurring software fee. And third, the constant supply shortages create this sense of urgency, forcing you to buy what you can get your hands on, without giving you time to even think about alternatives. All right, so that's the problem. It feels a little bleak, right? But here's the good news. There's a way out. The answer isn't to just abandon these amazing tools, but to build a smart strategy around diversification. And there are some incredibly powerful financial and operational reasons to do this, like right now. Now pay close attention to this, because this might be the most important slide in this entire explainer. Most people, when they think about AI costs, they think about training these giant models. But the reality? The long-term reality is that a whopping 80% of your AI compute cost comes from inference. That's the part where you're actually running the model in production day after day. And guess what? This is exactly where alternatives to NVIDIA really start to shine. And we're not talking about small potatoes here. The cost difference is staggering. You know, an NVIDIA H100 might run you about $30,000. But then you look at AMD's very competitive chip, and it's significantly less. And the custom silicon that the big cloud providers are making, for those inference workloads we just talked about, it can be 40 to 60% cheaper. The opportunity for arbitrage here is massive, and it's only getting bigger. Let's just put a real number on that, a big one. For a pretty typical large company doing a 10,000 GPU deployment, diversifying your hardware could mean capital savings of over $100 million. That is not a rounding error. That is a C-suite, board-level strategic decision. And look, it's not even just about the money, as crazy as that sounds. When you rely on a single supplier for something so critical, your entire operation becomes brittle. Just think about the GPU shortages over the last few years. Companies that were all in on a single architecture, they were stuck. The product roadmaps and launch dates got completely blown up. Diversity isn't just about cost savings. It is about resilience. Okay, so we've laid out the problem and we see the opportunity. So now what? What's the actual plan? Let's walk through a clear three-phase playbook that you can use to take back control and reclaim your negotiating leverage. Phase 1 is the absolute foundation. You can start this today. It is all about your software. You have to mandate that your teams code at the framework level, not directly to the hardware. That means any new code that wants to specifically use CUDA needs to go through a high-level review. This single step is everything because it preserves your freedom to choose different hardware later without having to rewrite your entire codebase from scratch. So what even is this framework layer? Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like a universal translator. It's software, like PyTorch, that sits in between your AI application and the physical chip. It lets that same code run on hardware from NVIDIA or AMD or Google without a massive reengineering project. It's the key to portability. So once your software can run anywhere, phase 2 is just about being smart. Don't use a sledgehammer for a thumbtack. For your Tier 1, cutting-edge training workloads, sure, use the best-in-class premium chips. But for Tier 2, that massive 80% inference workload, you optimize for cost with a mix of vendors, and you use your dev and test environments to constantly make sure your code stays portable across all of them.
And phase 3, this is the long game. This is where you really start to shift your thinking. You move away from buying raw ingredients, like GPU hours. Instead, you start buying the outcome, model API calls. You let the huge cloud providers, who are spending billions on their own custom silicon, worry about optimizing the hardware for you. Now, you have to be careful here. You don't want to just trade one kind of lock-in for another, but it's a powerful strategic move.
All right, let's bring this all home. A great strategy on a slide is one thing. Actually making it happen in a big organization, that's another thing entirely. So let's move from the theory to the action and talk about the roadblocks you're definitely going to hit.
Because you are going to get pushback, I guarantee it. You'll hear, but CUDA is the industry standard. The reality, standards change, especially when there's a $100 million incentive. PyTorch is the new standard. Then you'll hear, but our team only knows NVIDIA. Okay, that's not a technology problem, that's a talent and training problem. And my favorite, but we need the absolute maximum performance. And you should agree with them, for the 20% of the workload that actually needs it. Optimize the other 80% for cost. So what do you do Monday morning? Here's a simple 90-day plan. In the next 30 days, just do an audit. Figure out how deeply locked into CUDA you actually are. In the next 60 days, run one small pilot. Pick one inference workload and get it running on an alternative chip. Just prove it can be done. And by day 90, you take this strategy with a full financial model to your board.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The choices you are making on AI infrastructure today, this quarter, are going to echo for the next decade. They will determine whether in 2030 you're in control of your own destiny, negotiating from a position of strength, or you're just another trapped customer, waiting for the next massive invoice to arrive, hoping it's not as bad as the last one. The choice is yours.